Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 192 of the KISS Army Nation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Pasquale Veri.
And I am Claudio Spera. Welcome to the show, everyone.
On a previous episode, you may have remembered a story I told about how close I came to getting that KISS Pinball Machine. Here's a little clip to remind you.
Hey, man, what are you looking for still at this point?
Oh, no, for years now, it's been the KISS Pinball Machine. Now, okay. I told this story on our Christmas special. I'll tell it again if you don't mind, but there's also a follow-up. So I've been searching for this pinball machine for years now, right? In 2011, I had bought tickets to the first KISS cruise, and that cost me a pretty penny. And then I see the KISS pinball machine for sale in Montreal, and it was about 2009, something like that, the cost. I go, yes, I'm going to get it. I don't care. I'm going to get it. So I was talking with the dealer, trying to say, okay, listen, I'm going to buy it, but can I pay you in installments? I've got the KISS cruise coming. No, right away. Okay, I'll do it. But as we're discussing, I was having trouble reaching him. I think, what's going on? Is he actually found this thing or not? And what I found out later that he was actually talking with somebody else and negotiating price. And then he comes to me, he goes, hey, listen, if you want the pinball machine, it's this price now. Like, it was like $3,300. I go, no, you said 2009, it'll be 2000, no, okay, I'll do it. Again, I said, I'll take it. I'm trying to reach him, and I can't. Next thing I know, it's gone. What? You sold it to somebody else? Flash forward a few years later, I'm throwing a KISS party at a local brasserie or bar. And I'm talking to fans. I'm talking to one particular person. And he goes, yeah, I bought this pinball machine. It's like, it was me. I'm the guy. He goes, oh, I'm so sorry.
That is so funny.
It's not over. Flash forward to today, present time. Our friend Craig works at Canada Post. And he's talking to somebody who works there. And they're talking KISS. And this guy goes, do you know a guy called Pasquale Veri? He goes, yeah, of course. And they start talking about me. And Craig says that I've been looking for this pinball machine. He goes, oh my God, I'm the guy that bought it.
No.
Small world.
I wish I was joking, but it's true.
Wow.
That guy that took my pinball machine in 2011, who was at my party, now works at Canada Post with Craig. I mean, talk about spreading salt on the wound, man.
Is he going to be a guest on the show now?
I'm working on that.
That's a good one.
Well, KISS Army, here is the guy who has said pinball machine. Our guest, and yes, still our friend, Giancarlo Ferrara. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
It's so nice to have you, Giancarlo. So I couldn't wait to finally meet you, man. And this is going to be a blast, man. I love it.
Yes.
Well, maybe a blast for us, but not for him. We'll see.
Because hard on me there.
On this episode, we're going to do something a little different. It's a fan profile, but a little twist on the fan profile. And hopefully, Giancarlo, you're going to have fun doing this as well.
I will, sure.
So, based on 3 topics, your fandom, your collecting, and your KISS stories, we're going to determine if you are truly worthy of that KISS pinball machine. You ready?
If not, it's going to be given to you for sure.
I got the U-Haul ready to go.
Waiting there.
It's waiting outside. Claudio, get us started.
Okay, so Giancarlo, the first topic, it's about your KISS fandom. So what would you say is the most surprising or unusual thing about your fandom? In other words, how do you think you stand out as a KISS fan?
Well, I mean, I've always stood out as a KISS fan. Everybody knows me for that. Since I was young, high school, everybody was like, oh, that's the KISS guy. Or people even used to like tease me for liking KISS so much. There was always that friction between the rock fans in high school or like outside high school, where all the KISS fans were very unwelcome. So I got a lot of like popularity on that. I've liked KISS since I was probably 11, 12 years old, dressing up like them every Halloween, so yeah.
So have you, having this kind of teasing and I don't know if we should call it bullying, but have you ever tried to influence someone someone else to become a KISS
for
fan?
sure. It's funny. Although, I was teased in high school. Eventually, the guys that were teasing me came to a KISS show with me.
And there you go.
Front row on top of that.
Really?
In 2011, yeah.
Wow.
The one that they did in Park Jean Drapeau in 2011.
Yeah.
We got front row. And, there was some guys that were like, oh, KISS sucks, KISS sucks. Next thing you know, like, I'm tagging them along with me because, eventually we got friendly. We became friends. And, so it was funny to see that. You know what I mean? So
they finally got it.
They finally started to understand. Maybe not fully, but when they saw the show and those curtains came down, trust me, they were like, okay, I get it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I guess, Giancarlo, we all agree, the band is so special in terms of the visuals and the music, it's the perfect combo for rock and roll.
Yeah.
So if someone came to you without knowing what KISS is, so how would you describe KISS to someone who never heard of them?
You know what? Just like me, for example, when I was young, I was a huge comic book. I loved comic books, and I think I would go on that route. Loving comic books, Spider-Man, Batman, the X-Men. I saw the visuals, so the visuals they brought me in, and then you start knowing the characters. But with KISS, it was the same thing. So I would probably show them a lot of my memorabilia if they would come over, or if I had some with me, and I would show them all that stuff, and they would be like, "Oh, what is this?" Wow, that they look like superheroes, and I'll be like, "Wait, there's more." There's music, and they're like,
That's right.
They'll be like, "What do you mean?" And you start showing them Detroit Rock City, you'll start showing them Love Gun, the classics from the 70s, and you'll start from the beginning and you'll go through the 70s, and then hopefully they'll stick around throughout the 80s stuff. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Love
For
it.
sure. I would love to, if I ever have a kid one day, it's like the first things he will see in the house would be the posters.
Exactly.
He or she, and that's when you start showing them what KISS is all about through biographies, documentaries, books that were written on the band,
right?
And then showing them their music. It's just rock and roll superheroes.
Exactly.
It's Spider-Man that meets rock. And the show that and then you tell them, wait, there's even more. And then you go bring them to a show. Unfortunately, there's no show anymore, but then it would be, if they were still around, I would love to go, bring someone to go see a KISS show, because then they'll finally connect the dots.
Yeah, the experience.
The experience is there. So, and that's what happened. Like I was saying with some buddies from high school, they didn't like KISS. They didn't understand it. You know what I mean? They're like, what is this? This is just guys in makeup with the heels and all the show and the fire breathing. But then when you finally start showing them the music, there's they're kind of connecting the dots. But the cherry on the pie was to bring them to the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's exactly what I did. And that's what I would do for a newcomer that would, be interested in the rock genre, the genre of rock and roll, or even the sci-fi stuff,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the interesting thing is that when you listen to the music, at least, from the 70s, with all the fantasy and all the stuff, it's not Gene Simmons singing. It's the God of Thunder.
Yeah, it's the God of Thunder.
It's not Ace. It's the Spaceman singing.
Spaceman, Star Child,
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
So, yeah, for sure. So when you're showing someone that, they don't know who's behind the makeup, the mask.
Yeah.
So that's what did it for me personally, because I when I was introduced to KISS, I didn't know what they looked like.
Yeah.
So like I was too young, and at the time there wasn't I wasn't going on the internet and stuff like that. I was just too young to go on the computer. But I would be like, what are these guys? What did they look like? So you start growing an interest. You start becoming, curious. And then you start investigating into it, and you're like, whoa, okay, that's a KISS song. Wait, then you match the KISS song with their image, and you're like, I get it. You know?
Yeah, by that time you're already hooked. You're hooked.
Yeah, you're hooked into it for sure.
Yeah.
That's interesting you said that, because it leads to my next question. Have you paid your dues? Now, you talked about being teased or bullied, being a KISS fan. But I remember back in the 70s when I was a kid and I was a huge fan, I wasn't necessarily teased for liking the band. I was teased for liking the music and liking music like KISS. So have you ever been teased or felt like an outsider for liking that type of music, for not liking the music of the times?
Oh, for sure. Oh my God. Yeah, for sure. Because at the time, when I was, by the way, I introduced myself to KISS for 100% because I've seen them on TV. I remember seeing KISS back when I was very young. I was probably 4, 5, 6 years old, and 99 or 98, I saw KISS on Access Hollywood, and I'm like, what is that? As a kid, and I was reading comic books. My father had a convenience store, so he had a whole rack of comic books. So at the time, I was a comic book guy, a comic book kid. So I was reading Spider-Man. I was reading so many comic books based on the superheroes we all know about. And then being introduced to that, I was into that. And then what happens is that when you're involved in something that's out of the norm, people look at you like, whoa, this is in the 70s. You got to let that go.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like, you're introduced to it. So don't forget, I wasn't born in the 60s, 70s, or 80s where KISS was alive and strong at the time. You know what I mean? So I was introduced to KISS when, it was the reunion tour and stuff like that. So they weren't new. And the music was outdated. 70s music was outdated, although it was coming back in. But it was, regardless, it was outdated. And it was like, techno at the time, house music, and all that DJ stuff. And the rap scene was huge back in the late 90s, early 2000s. So when I was listening to rock, people would look at me like, whoa, what is this? And tease me about it. And then even the rock fans wouldn't agree with KISS. They wouldn't agree with me listening to KISS because it was all about AC/DC, Zeppelin, Metallica, and all the big bands. You know what I mean? So KISS was always kind of like tossed on the side by a lot of people. So that's when, at that time, I was heavily into the KISS music and the rock scene.
I think it's obvious that it's not always easy being a KISS fan, but it's also amazing to be a KISS fan.
Definitely, it's a band that no other band looks like, or no other band sounds like. They're very unique.
Yeah, and KISS fans, we do some crazy things for this band, and we continue to do crazy things for this band. So that's my question. That's my question to you. Besides taking my my pinball machine, what was the craziest thing you've done as a KISS fan?
Oh boy, the craziest thing I've done as a KISS fan. Good question. It was in 2010. I graduated high school, and I remember that the high school graduation ceremony took place downtown Montreal. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was downtown Montreal, Place des Arts. And I had a Gene Simmons shirt. The ones that they came out with back in the Alive 35 tour? The one with Gene's face like blasted, all the whole shirt.
Yeah, covering the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the Alive 35 shirt. And I wore that shirt underneath my gown.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I had the hat on, and they called my name. So they're like, hey, Giancarlo Ferrara, please step up to, get your diploma. So I'm going on top of the stage, I'm walking up stage, and I take the diploma. I say thank you. I look at the crowd, and they was jam packed. All the parents were there, and high school teachers, all the students from other grades as well. And I just zipped down. I zipped down my gown, and I'm like, KISS, and everyone's like, yeah. Everyone's like, yeah, KISS, KISS, KISS. As I was known in high school, I was known to be the KISS guy.
The KISS guy.
Nice.
There's always one KISS guy in high school, and I ended up being the guy.
I love it.
Nice.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, that's a classic story. And I it's funny. I still have, once in a while, I'll bump into a student I went to high school with back in high school, and they'll come up to me like, "Hey, Giancarlo, remember that day? Remember that day,
They will
the
never
high school
forget.
ceremony, and you zipped down your gown and you showed your KISS shirt?"
Love
I'm
it.
like, "Yeah, you're not the only one that, brought up that story in the past couple of years,
Good move,
Right,
Yeah.
man. Good
right.
move.
That
Love
was
it.
fun. I think that time was
Love it.
yeah, that stood out for me the most. For
Super
sure. That
nice.
moment there, yeah.
Giancarlo, so we're gonna kind of wrap up this section of the show,
Yeah.
the KISS fandom, with a little test here. So I know that at
Why
that
you
time.
laughing, Pask? Why you laughing, Pask?
He's coming.
What's
He's
up your
getting
sleeve,
ready.
Pask?
Getting ready, man.
Yeah.
Music from the Elder.
Mhm.
That's one of those albums that now with time we all of us we acknowledge the value and stuff, blah blah blah. But it was kind of a dividing, the fans. Some fans love it, some fans they can't stand it. So
Yeah.
how would you promote music from the Elder to a non-Kiss fan?
Very good question, Claudio. Music from the Elder, I have very mixed feelings about that record myself.
Uh-huh.
I think the best way, in my opinion, to show a non-Kiss fan Kiss music would I would go right at the beginning, right from the beginning, and make them feel what I felt
Okay.
as a upcoming Kiss fan or new Kiss fan,
So
a
you build
beginner.
up. You start
I
to
would
build up.
build them up and make them understand why they took that route,
Okay.
that route or that road, if you want to call it.
Okay.
Um, it was a very they have to understand why it happened, because in that time from 19 already 1979, the band The Friction,
Hmm.
even before that there was Friction, but
Mhm.
it was really in the red zone back in 79, 80. And then when The Elder came out, Ace didn't want to know nothing about the band. Peter wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then Eric Carr was just like, "Guys, you're throwing me in the fire. I don't know. This is not the band I signed up for." So an upcoming Kiss fan or someone that doesn't know Kiss and you want to try to introduce them, I think it's the wrong album to introduce them to.
Okay.
I would show them the classics
Okay.
and make them understand what Kiss is all about and how they started, why
Yeah.
certain members chose certain
So you
makeups.
build up a story. Okay.
I
That's
would
good.
I would snowball effect it,
Okay. Okay.
so and then
Okay.
make them and then tell them the history behind the Elder and
Right.
why it was like
What
that
happened?
and what
Okay.
happened and all of
And
that.
the times too, we're talking the early 80s with all these theme albums, and then The Wall and Bob Ethridge and blah blah blah. So
Yeah, I
it
think
has a
you know
connection.
yeah, look, although I'm young, like I'm 32, I wasn't in that time, but I trust me, I've read enough Kiss books, biographies, documentaries. I've seen it all. Like I've really invested the time enough to understand what happened. You guys were actually there,
Yeah.
alive in those days. You guys
Yeah.
saw
Yeah.
it happen before your eyes. I
Mm.
wasn't even a thought.
Right.
But although I still dug into, investigated in history, if you want to, as
Of
we like to
course.
say, um, and seeing Kiss in that time was a very fragile time.
Mm.
From what I understood,
Mhm.
they didn't know what direction to go. So a lot of things were going on, a lot of conflicts were happening, and even between Gene and Paul, I
Yeah.
could just imagine the arguments they had back
Mhm.
in those days. What direction they want to go into. Because
Yeah.
funny that the Elder comes out, and then what comes right after?
Yeah. Creatures. Yeah.
Creatures.
Creatures.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Creatures was like, let's walk complete opposite direction.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you get Creatures, you're like, wait,
Yeah.
what
Is it
what
the same band?
what just happened?
Right.
So there was that critical moment in the band in those days where you get 1979, you get the disco era, and then
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
1980, Unmasked comes out, and it gets pop rock. It's more like uh it's
Yeah.
more of that poppy. It's not hard rock. It's not that Kiss sound that we know about, that they
in the
originally
70s.
came out in
Yeah.
the early 70s.
Yeah.
And then you go from Unmasked to, The Elder, and then
Yeah.
then The Elder to Creatures, and then Creatures to Lick It Up.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
got 1980 to Lick It Up, and you're like, what's going on with this band?
Yeah. It definitely requires some explanation, if you want to introduce someone to
That's
Kiss with
that's
the
why,
Elder, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And
And
that's
let me
why,
just
yeah,
fast forward in time, because the same question could apply to the grunge, period with
yes,
Carnival of Souls.
yes,
So Kiss was never known by doing this kind of music. So they came up with that album. They had
yeah,
to, in the middle of the reunion,
yeah,
discussions, conversations. It leaked. They had to release it. So
yeah.
could you defend Carnival of Souls to the Kiss Army?
Very good question. Very good questions, Claudio. I like these challenging ones. You could defend the album, yes. In that time, also, there was a very critical, moment in the band as well. Paul Stanley wasn't agreeing with Gene with the whole grunge scene when
Mhm.
Carnival of Souls was being recorded. And Paul, you can listen when you're listening to those songs. You can tell Paul has no interest.
He's not there. He's not
He's
there.
not really there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He does a fantastic job because he's got a great voice back in the early 90s and throughout all the 90s and early 2000s. Paul's voice was the best it's ever been, my opinion. And Carnival of Souls was more of a Gene album, in my opinion, as well. You can hear Gene. You start off that album, Hate comes on.
Yeah.
The song Hate, it just, and you're like, whoa. Right off the bat, you're like, okay, this is Revenge Part 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Revenge Part 2, and
Okay.
what you see Unholy, and then you're like, well, Part 2 is like the song, it's Hate. You get that same feeling, and that's why I think Gene was having fun at the time with that record. Although that record was, swept under the rug.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
found it personally very unfair to Bruce Kulick and Eric Singer at the time.
You like it? You like the
I
album?
really like it.
Okay.
I really like Carnival of Souls. Obviously, there is, like every Kiss album, they're very good songs, and then there's the songs that don't really interest me much. And the songs that don't interest me very much on Carnival of Souls is majority of them are the Paul songs.
Okay.
The Gene songs, you can tell he was all in for the grunge
Yeah.
scene, and he wanted to invest their time in recording, particularly towards the grunge and heavy metal type of sound.
Okay.
I know Gene wanted that. Paul, not so much. You can hear
Good take. Good take.
You can hear it from Paul's voice that it wasn't clicking too well.
Good take. I like your rationale. Okay, that's good. So I'll buy into that. So last question on this one. So
Shoot.
Our friend Vinnie Vincent.
Yes.
Okay. So we know already, his contribution, from the Creatures days, and then he appears on Lick It Up. So what would you say to a fan who could argue that Vinnie Vincent saved Kiss?
Look, it's a very good question as well. Claudio, you're on fire this morning. I like those questions.
That's this is so much fun, man. I can't believe it.
I love these questions.
We're doing this with Pask, and
I love this. Yeah,
it's hats off to Pask. He comes up with these great ideas too.
Pask, you're on fire, my guy. You're still not getting this machine.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
In talking about Vinnie Vincent, Vinnie Vincent, I love his guitar playing and the influence he had on Kiss back in Creatures, Lick It Up. Did he save Kiss is a very good question. I think he wrote fantastic songs with Gene and Paul. Did he save Kiss? I mean, look, it all comes down to opinion. My personal opinion, the only member that really saved Kiss in the early 80s was Paul Stanley. That's my take on it.
Okay.
Vinnie helped with, he gave the recipe, to cook something new, especially with creatures. He got them out of the rug with that. But to save them, I think it's very strong. It's a very strong to say that,
Okay.
I think Paul Stanley was really the one to, because let's face it, in the early 80s, what was Gene doing? He was, being carried away by the Hollywood fame.
Yeah, he was gone. Yeah.
He was kind of, with Cher, Diana Ross. He was being very, he was hyped up by that wave.
Yeah.
And Paul Stanley had no choice to take the band into his own hands and decide, okay, what are we doing? How are we going to do it? How are we going to let KISS last for the 80s? Because during, in the early 80s, new bands were starting to come about.
Oh, yeah.
Look at Van Halen. Van Halen was huge in the early 80s.
Yeah.
So when you got bands like that, and you were once at the top, like KISS back in the mid 70s, 77, 78, they started, kind of crashing down. But their peak of success was 77. Love Gun, at the moment the solo album started coming out, things started, those friction there.
Yeah, the cracks.
Yeah, things start, tumbling. But that's why I'm sure Paul had to figure it out. Say, you know what? We got a lot of like bands, upcoming bands coming up. What do we do?
Yeah.
So they got someone like Vinnie Vincent at the time to help them, to probably push them in a more positive direction.
Mm-hmm.
But let's face it, guys, if it wasn't for Paul, would we still have KISS in the 80s?
So
I don't think so.
So true. Yeah.
So I think KISS really saved. I think Paul really saved KISS in the early 80s.
Okay. So far, you're doing pretty well. I gotta admit, you're doing pretty well. But are you up for the next challenge? Because a measure of our fandom is often seen through our experiences, not paying $50,000 for a gold record. Right, don't get me started. But it's about our experience. So our next topic is KISS stories. KISS stories.
Yeah.
So my first question: have you ever played KISS music at an important life event? For example, like a wedding.
Yes. Actually, funny you bring this question up. I had sent you on Messenger a snippet or a part of the wedding video on my wedding 2 years ago. I had sent you a 3-minute video of I Was Made for Loving You was playing on the portion of the video where I was getting ready to put my suit on, and
nice.
My brother comes in the room and he gave me like a KISS shirt with my face on it from Halloween. So he had printed my brother had printed shirts for me and him because he was my usher on that day, and he had printed a shirt of my face with Gene makeup on, saying like, I'm ready to rock on my wedding day or something like that, So on the wedding video there is KISS, and when I walked in, when they were the entrance at the hall, at the reception hall, my wife and we walked into I Was Made for Loving You, a remix, an up-to-date remix, like a party remix of it.
Yeah.
So and then the crowd got started, and that was definitely a great time 2 years ago. It was a fantastic time in my life, and to have KISS a part of that time was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So have you ever traveled long distances for a KISS concert or any type of KISS-related event?
Look, I haven't seen KISS as much as you guys. You guys are like, what, 77, and Claudio, you're...
Well, I got into KISS in 79. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys seen them like over 70, 80 times.
Oh, yeah.
I think, Pascal, but the thing is that coming from, I guess you know the story, but coming from Buenos Aires, I only moved to Canada 20 years ago.
Okay.
I could only see the band in 94, the first time they went down to South America. Well, actually, they went before to Brazil, but I didn't go to Brazil in 83. But so I saw the band first time in 94, but I was exposed to, I got hooked with KISS in 79 with Dynasty.
Nice.
But I've seen the band maybe counting cruises and stuff 40 times. Yeah.
Wow.
40 shows. Yeah.
How about yourself, Pask?
About 77.
Yeah, I remember I was watching a podcast. You'd mentioned 77. I've only seen them 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
also take into consideration my age and take into consideration I was born in '93. So I mean, I wasn't around when you guys were seeing them in the '80s or like, past. I believe you've seen them in '79, right?
Yeah.
Their Dynasty tour.
Yeah.
Obviously, guys, I wasn't around in those times, in those
Right.
days. But in '93, growing up, I was like 7 years old in the year 2000. I was still too young to even see them in their farewell tour. I was even too young to see them, and when Tommy and Eric was coming around when they came around in the early 2000s. I was still too young. I didn't, my parents wouldn't let me obviously go to watch a KISS show. My parents had no interest to bring their young son to a KISS show, but I've seen them 10 times. I've seen them all here in Canada. I've seen them Montreal, Quebec, and Ottawa.
Okay.
So I've seen them in 2009 twice. I've seen them. In 2011, I saw them front row. In 2013, I believe they also came. And then obviously the End of the Road tour. I've seen them, I think, a solid 5 times right there as well. So yeah, but I've never been to the States. Like, I would have loved to do all that stuff. I don't think I had the right people to do it with. A long time ago, and obviously, I was being young at the time, like between 2010 and like 2015. Like with work and this and that, things come around. I didn't have a chance to go to life. I would have loved to go to the States to go see them and follow them around there. Just maybe I think the age wasn't there for me to actually do that. But anytime they came close to home, Montreal, Quebec, Ottawa, and I was there. I couldn't miss it.
Have you ever purchased any kind of a meet and greet experience or VIP package or sound check, that kind of stuff?
It's funny you say that because I don't know. Like, I always had a bittersweet thought about it. Should I meet them? Should I not meet them? I was kind of worried about, if I met them, would they turn me off? And next thing you know, Pask is gonna get this machine. I don't know, So, look, I maybe how I would really like to meet these guys. Walk into a coffee shop and just seeing them sit down and having a meal.
Right.
Maybe even then, should I even bother them? Did they really want a KISS fan to come out of nowhere and say, "Hey, I'm a fan"? They've gotten that since the '70s, so it's like.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why it's a hard question for me to answer, because it's like a bittersweet type of question.
But it's a fair way to respond. That I know that many people feel like the same way, and actually it's interesting because back in the day, Pask, he can confirm more than anyone else. Every time in the '90s or the '80s. You could walk to those guys and, they could sign everything. Everything was cool. You didn't have to pay, huge
you want to
amount of
sign
money.
this cup today, it's going to cost you like $5,000.
That's right. And now, the prices are going skyrocketing for everything. And you have only maybe 5 seconds with those guys to take a picture. They don't even do it at the KISS cruise anymore. So it's kind of weird, Yeah.
I think the best time to meet those guys was like in the early '90s when like people didn't even know they were even around.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that would have been the best time to have a solid conversation with them. Not even about KISS, about anything. Like, hey, I like your shirt, man. Where did you get your shirt? Like, that nice steel toe boots, Gene. Because Gene has a habit of wearing steel toe cowboy boots. So you're like, hey, Gene, like those are some nice boots, man. Where did you get them? Like, where can I buy it? It's things like that I would like to have a conversation about. Life. I don't know I think they heard about the band. They spoke about the band with fans so many times. Like, do they really want to?
Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, it's a very good question though. But I have like a kind of a bittersweet feeling about meeting them.
Okay.
If I could interject, I saw Paul several times. I met members of the band several times, but I saw Paul one time in New Jersey for his paintings. I bought one of his paintings, and we were told, when you meet Paul, don't talk about KISS. I wasn't going to. I want to talk about his paintings. So when you talk to Paul about something other than KISS, he is so invested in that conversation. It was like you were saying, it's like meeting them at a coffee shop and just talking life. It was amazing having that discussion with Paul.
Yeah, so like that's the experience I want. I think after 50 years in the business, I honestly really think and truly believe that, you know, they're thinking enough is enough with the KISS stuff, guys. Like let's talk about life, and like maybe let's talk about something else, another interest. You like golfing, you like sports, you like this, you like that, whatever it may be. But I think repeating themselves, after 50 years, repeating themselves the same things to fans
they
all
don't.
the time.
They just
Eventually,
they just want to sell stuff to us now.
It's a business, guys. We have to understand, it's a business, and they're in the business, and that's what it is, right? So
basically, you already touched on this before, but if there's one experience that you wished you had with those guys, what would that be? So maybe a cruise, maybe an event, or maybe I don't know, a pre-show stuff with them. So I don't know if there's something that you wish you had the opportunity to experience with them. What would that be?
I would really have liked to see them in the convention days and them playing the acoustic sets. That would have been amazing. Seeing Gene Paul, Ace and Peter, or even Eric Singer, Kulik, at the time, right before that reunion tour, right before that, sparked and it, it went to what it was then. I think that would have been for me. Like I would have just, okay, I'm done. I'm good. Okay. Like if I can get that, I'm good. Seeing them playing acoustic sets, just like the MTV the MTV Unplugged.
Oh yeah.
If I could have seen that, I could have just like,
I'm
done after that. That for me would have been it.
So sure. Pask, he can take your pinball machine. After that, like you give it away.
I don't know about that. There's gonna be a little bit of
I don't know about
an
that.
exchange happening.
I love it. I love it.
We'll talk. I don't know. All right, my friend. It's test time once again. Now, you're watching this episode. I want you to pause it and bring your wife down to watch this next segment, because here's my question to you. So it's your wife's birthday, and you have to choose between celebrating her birthday or going on a KISS cruise. What would you do and why?
You're bad, Pask. You're bad.
Pask, I have a feeling you hate me.
Oh boy.
I have a feeling you just really don't like me.
No, I love you, man. I love you.
Well, you're asking me these questions. My wife's gonna see this video eventually, and she's gonna probably look at me and be like, I don't know about you anymore. Look, between her or KISS cruise, I mean, or another KISS event, you know what? I would tell her, hey, how about this? Are you interested in going? If not, fine, sure, we'll do something else. I'm not gonna, I love KISS. The band is, I've been a KISS fan all my life, but to start choosing the band over my wife, no, it's a bit too
There's
much
a line.
there. Yeah, there's a line there.
There you go.
You know what I mean, guys? We are passionate KISS fans, right? But at the end of the day, these guys don't even probably know who I am. They probably know who you are. They've seen you guys, but still, I'm thought, regardless. But
there you go.
Your wife is emotionally there for you. They're not.
Good.
Good They're there for your buck, though. If you want to spend money, hey guys, you're more than welcome to send in your money in an envelope.
I think if you had answered, the wrong way, so we see all those posters gone, the next day from your basement.
No, for sure. I would bring up the subject and say, babe, it would be a great weekend getaway for your birthday. There's a KISS event or whatever it is, whatever event they would have done. But if she would say no, then obviously
does she like KISS?
She's seen them with me.
Okay.
She saw them with me twice in Montreal.
Okay.
She's seen them with me in Quebec. So I think 4 times.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And the last time we saw KISS together was in Quebec, right the day before Paul got sick.
Right.
Yeah. Before
Ottawa,
show.
And he canceled Ottawa and Toronto.
Yeah.
So, and I had decided. I said, "What do I do? Do I buy Montreal. I knew I had to buy Montreal. So do I buy Montreal tickets? Do I buy Quebec tickets, or do I buy Ottawa tickets? Because I didn't want to do Quebec and Ottawa.
Okay.
I just wanted to do one of them because of work. And I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna do Quebec. I'm in Quebec. And then, the Quebec fans are rowdy. More rowdy than the Ottawa fans, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
So I chose to buy the
did
Quebec
good, man.
ones.
You
And
did good.
and you know what? Thank God I bought the Quebec ones for me
Yeah.
and my wife, because the
Yeah.
day after Paul was sick
Mhm.
and he
Yeah.
canceled the Ottawa and Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife loved it because I said, you know what? I'm gonna go to Montreal and Quebec the last time they come to Montreal and Quebec, and I'm gonna buy amazing tickets. So Quebec, we were sitting like, I think we were like fourth row.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
Fourth
Good
row
stuff.
and fourth row center Gene
Okay.
side.
Mhm.
Nice.
So not completely middle, but center Gene Simmons,
Beautiful.
And
Nice.
and then the day before we had seen them in Montreal, and we were like on the stands on the side, like very close at the bottom. And my wife loved it, But I told her right before we got to Quebec, I said, babe, what you saw in Montreal yesterday, it's a whole different ball game when you see them almost front row.
Yeah, when you're closer.
When
Yeah.
you're close and you see KISS,
Yeah.
that curtain comes down,
Mhm.
you're shivering. Like there's, the
Oh, yeah.
hands are standing on your arms, and you're like,
Mhm.
whoa, what is this?
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
she got that experience, and I'm very happy she got to have that experience with me. It was a great moment.
So we were talking about, KISS fans sometimes doing crazy things. So my next
Yeah.
question, have you ever dressed up as a member of the band at a non-KISS related event?
For sure, Halloween.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
I've done probably a, a a huge part of my teenage life. Every Halloween was like, I didn't even care about Halloween. I just wanted to dress up like Gene Simmons.
Okay.
Dressing up like Gene. Going to like Halloween parties, or going out downtown Montreal, and going to these bars and pubs and Halloween parties and dressed up like Gene. Everyone would stop and say, "Hey, man, it's Gene Simmons!" Like, oh, it's so
Yeah.
cool. Like everyone was like, "Ah, KISS!" Like, wow. You know, you they don't necessarily, they probably don't even know the members, their names, but when they see that makeup, they first thing
Yeah.
they'll say is KISS.
It's iconic. That's
It's
right.
it's international.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
a one world language.
Yep.
It's everyone knows what KISS is.
Mhm.
You can show a picture of Gene Simmons in a small village somewhere, and they'll be like, okay, like I know what that is. Like,
Yeah.
well, it's KISS. Maybe they might not know the members, but yeah, they know it's KISS. And
Yeah.
so all my life, dressing up like Gene and Halloween parties and stuff like that. Yeah, great memories for sure.
No, the makeup and the costume is much bigger than the people in the makeup and in the costumes. I went to the Brasserie for a Halloween party with a non-KISS fan. I was dressed up as Gene Simmons, full costume and everything. And I said to her, now when I walk through that door, watch what happens. She goes, what's going to happen? I go, just watch what happens. I walk in and people just stopped, looked at me and started cheering.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was swarmed with people wanting
Yeah.
to take pictures. Old ladies grabbing my butt. I mean, I'm not, what the heck? But it's something about that makeup that does something to people. It's incredible.
Yeah, I told you, it's an international feeling that everybody has towards KISS. You know what I mean? Like I said, they don't necessarily have to know if it's the Star Child, the Spaceman, the Cat, whatever. They just know it's KISS, and the KISS
Yeah.
is internet. It's worldwide. You can go to any country and show them just a picture, and they'll be like, yeah, I know what that is.
Mhm.
I've never met anybody that didn't know what KISS was. They might not know their names, like I said, but you show them a picture, they might not know their music or anything, but they've seen them somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I think, like going back to your question, Halloween, I always got a reaction because of that, because it's fun. People know what it is. People like it. People, they might not understand it, but they understand what it is. They
Yeah.
understand what the whole image part of it kisses.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the test isn't over yet. It's not over yet.
Bring them on. Bring them on.
Okay, here we go. So you're at a family event, and they're putting down KISS, calling them a kiddie band, and they bring up the insane merchandise as an example. So how would you react to that?
So what? So what? You know, look, I've never personally had that experience. I've had my parents look at me like if, I introduced myself to this type of music, rock music, Kiss, and whatever. Uh, and there was like, well, where does this guy come from? Like, we never had that music being played in the house before. My brother never liked that stuff. My sisters never did either. And I never really had, family members from like, cousins or whatever that were interested in Kiss. So there was always that like, well, I don't really understand where this guy's coming from. So they would ask me and be like, like, isn't it kind of it's enough now with the Kiss merchandise because like your bedroom's starting to look a bit crazy now. I just didn't care. I said, so what? You know what I mean? Like, it's what I like. I'm not hurting anyone,
That's right.
so like, hey, why not? It was it, Kiss has been such a huge impact in my life. They were always there throughout every experience I had in my life. A first girlfriend or a first breakup, meeting a certain group of friends that you'd last a couple of years with. There was always Kiss somewhere. You know, you break up with your first girlfriend, you turn to the song Forever or every time,
They're always there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's always something there, when
Right.
you're feeling pumped and they're there. When you're feeling down, well, there's a song for every moment in your life when it comes to Kiss, Yeah.
I think we have to admit, Pask, that having this conversation with Giancarlo, man, you're giving us a run for our money, man. So this is great, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But so now we're getting into and see Pask, pulling out his sleeves now. So he's Kiss collecting. We're gonna get into the final topic, Kiss collecting. So there's all kinds of collectors. You said before, before getting on air that you're crazy with posters and stuff. Each one of us, we have our own things. But have you ever overpaid for an item just because it was Kiss?
You know what? Although they weren't crazy expensive, but I feel the T-shirts at the shows.
Okay.
They were getting like at one point, especially this end of the road tour, I was just like, guys, come on, man, 75 to $100 for a T-shirt here, like let's press the brakes here. You know what I mean? I bought a couple, I think one shirt or two shirts, and then I bought this hoodie. I think I bought something else. I think like one of Tommy Thayer signed a little guitar, signature guitar. You put on a little stand with his guitar picks. I bought some stuff like that, but like I didn't go overboard. Like I didn't want to go overboard because I was just like, I can get this T-shirt in 3 months from now for half the price.
Yeah.
On their website, and like I can order a couple of things right there. You save like $200-300.
No urgency whatsoever.
Yeah, so I would say that would probably be the T-shirts at the concerts. They were very expensive.
Okay.
But something else, a lot of the things I have, they're not obviously they were from before I was probably born, or very like in the Spencer years of the 90s. I was too young to buy that stuff, the Todd McFarlane dolls, stuff like that. I wasn't old enough at the time to buy that stuff, right? So I would find somewhere like what do you call them, Pask? Like when you go to like Marché aux Puces?
Oh, flea market.
Flea markets. There we go. So I would go to flea markets, and there would be like, a gentleman selling a bunch of Kiss stuff. So what I would do, I'd be like, look, I'll take the whole rack. You want, let's say, $50 per item? I'm willing to give you $200 for the whole rack. What do you say?
Right.
I'm like, you got a buyer. I was always good at that, negotiating. I'll buy the whole set. Like I'll buy your 3 sets of like Todd McFarlane's and. Like I'm taking off with them now. If you sell them to me at this price, the guy's like, like it's not every day a Kiss fan walks in here to buy the whole set. So the owner would be like, you know what, just take them.
Of course.
Give me this. So I would like bulk buy and try to save along the, or like even eBay for buying a lot of the posters I have. I would do bids.
Yeah.
So let's say the a poster, I really know a poster like these ones, for example. If I'm not mistaken, I did buy them on eBay. These are the Alive 2 posters.
Mm-hmm.
I think they wanted it's like over $1,000 for the set or something like that. I think I offered maybe half the price. I got lucky,
Yeah.
you know. So
Okay.
to overpay, I was always smart about buying KISS
There you go.
merch.
No, you can tell.
Yeah,
And speaking of that, selling and trading and negotiating, have you ever had to make a tough decision to trade or sell a piece from your collection?
I never once traded and never once sold any of my stuff.
Okay.
I told my wife, I said, you know what, babe, one day I won't be here anymore. I won't be here to see any of it. So do what you want. If
Do
you
what
want
you
to
want.
keep
Okay.
them, if you want to pass them down to, God willing, if we ever have kids or whatever, pass them on to them. If they have no interest, and hey,
Okay.
they're at the end of the day, yes, we're passionate. We love the band. We love our merchandise because throughout the years we collect memories. They're not just uh, items to us.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
memories. They're
we're on the
moments.
same boat here. So with Pasc, we always say exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
It's not the material stuff what counts. It's memories that it brings. And
yeah, 100%. So you're buying memories. You're not just buying things you can touch. So
hmm.
I know what happened when I got this machine. That story will stay with me for life.
Me too.
You know, see, it just as fans, it just
I love it.
it struck me in Pask. Like I have a memory with it, and it's not even his, and he's got a memory with it
Oh
too.
yeah, and you're talking about your negotiation skills. That's what beat me. Your negotiation skills.
Look, you gotta know you gotta know what to negotiate. You gotta tell yourself, okay, this pinball machine, it's not like buying probably one of these posters that you can probably easily get because these posters have been printed in thousands and thousands, right? Uh, these machines, every year that they've been made, have every year that since it's come out, been tossed in the garbages. You know what I mean? They would get wrecked, and the owners at arcades, they would just throw them out or onto the next what's in.
Yeah.
What was in at the time. So what's next? Terminator, all that stuff.
Yeah. Star Wars,
Star
whatever.
Wars, yeah, exactly. So like they would bring in the next batch that was in. I don't think this machine got it got a hype, but I don't think it stuck around too much as we think it did. You know what I mean? So when you find something like this, you got to be careful. I didn't like the lowball the guy either. You know, like I built a relationship with the gentleman. His whole basement. When I went to his house to go see this machine, I remember seeing his. I was with my wife then. It was just back past you think 2018, 2019, right?
I remember like 2009 or 2011 before the
No,
KISS cruise, but
no,
it was later than that, eh?
no. 2011,
Yeah,
I didn't have the cash to buy this.
yeah.
I wasn't buying big items like that. I was buying posters and dolls and action figures and stuff like records. But I wasn't buying like things like this. This is like
So
it
must have been 2017, 18 then, because at that time I did the after party in Brossard, and you were there, and that's when you
okay.
told me you got the pinball machine, and then I got
Yeah.
drunk.
Drinking your sorrows away. Yeah. So I went to the gentleman's house, and when I walked in his basement, he had a huge basement, and there was if you wanted Terminator, if you wanted Star Wars, if you whatever it was, that guy was buying them, refurbishing them, fixing them up, making them look nice, and out the door selling them. There was some key stuff that he was keeping for sure, some stuff that he personally enjoyed that acquired yet his own taste, I guess. But when I saw this one, it was in a great condition. I wouldn't say it's in the best immaculate condition, but it's in great condition. It's in functioning condition as well. And I went there knowing that if I would sleep on this, and if I would lowball him, like I try my best with everything else that I negotiate with. For example, when I brought up the flea market stories, that I would go to flea markets and get the whole rack for $100, and I have like $10. You know, for $60, I'd get like, you know, the Mount Rushmore KISS for nothing. You know, with this, I knew I couldn't do that because I was gonna lose him. And this gentleman here, he had like he got a character. He was very like, you know, he had a character where he was like to himself type of thing. He wasn't too outgoing like, you know, like we're doing right now. So he was, you know, playing his cards right, and he wanted to make sure he was getting his, you know, what he wanted. So I negotiated him very little, and I walked out with it. You know, I had my dad's minivan at the time. So I told my dad, you know, I need your minivan. I'm going to pick up a pinball machine. He's like, pinball machine? Why? What pinball machine? Why are you bringing home a pinball machine? Like, I don't want that here. I'm like, Dad, you have to understand, it's a KISS pinball machine. He's like, here are the keys. I get it.
Nice.
Here are the keys. Go pick up your pinball machine. He's like, just don't get a bad deal on it. I'm like, yeah, you know, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I got the guy. You know, he's on my good side. He was a type of guy you had to get on his good side, you know, or else he just wasn't responding you or
Right.
like I had some stressful moments where he wouldn't respond me for like a day or two, and
You
I'm
know,
just there like, oh boy, I just lost the machine.
yeah.
I
Well,
was,
that's what happened to me. He wasn't responding. I tried to communicate with him, and it was tough. But
yeah,
I think at that point he already made up his mind. It's all to you. I think
yeah,
that's what
I
happened.
probably, yeah. But when I went there, he saw how much of a KISS fan I was. So maybe he wanted to like, you know, sell it to someone that is a, you know, a big KISS fan past, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, right. Son of a.
No, but for sure, like, you know, he saw me and my wife, and he opened up to us, and we
Yeah.
opened up to him, and we got friendly, and I was playing his other machines, and we had a friendly, you know, a friendly transaction. Didn't go south and didn't go bitter. So I think he made up his mind. He's like, you know what, I'll take a maybe $200-300 less than what I was posting it for, and he said, you know what, take it, go. He taught me everything. I have videos of hours and hours of videos of him taking it apart and putting it back together.
Oh wow.
These guys, man, these pinball machines, they're complicated inside. For
Yeah.
me, I'm
Yeah.
not like, you know, an engineer, whatever you want, or a technician or a computer geek or computer genius. I'm not one of those, right? So like for me, like when he opened up that back glass over there, he opened it up and I saw like circuit boards on top of circuit boards, and I'm just
Yeah.
like plugs going in left and right, up
Yeah.
and down. I'm just like,
Connectors and stuff.
connect
Yeah.
this and don't connect that to that because you're gonna fry the thing. I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
or you better put the ground. If you don't put the ground, you're gonna, you know, you're gonna, you
Yeah.
know, let something jump in there. I'm just like, oh boy. So I was taking videos and hours and videos of videos, and when I was putting it back together, finally, like the gentleman helped me put it in my dad's caravan, and when I brought it home, I had to assemble it.
Ooh.
And obviously, like my dad's like, "Well, how do you want me to? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what plug goes where." I'm like, I got the videos, you know. So like, and I was spending hours to put it together, and I had to put that top piece, the
Yeah.
top square cube,
Mm-hmm.
I had to hook it onto the body,
Yeah.
and you know, you got to do it in a certain way because you know it's old. You know, you want to,
Yeah.
you got to be delicate with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You know.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Okay, so you got the pinball machine. Congratulations. I'm not so sure I would be able to invest all that time in putting it together. I am horrible at that kind of thing. Horrible. So I think it went to the better person.
If you ever buy one, Pass, I promise you, I'll come and help you and assemble it.
There
I'll
you
take
go.
you up on that.
I got
There you go.
I got videos on it, so I'll swing by and definitely I'll give you a hand
Look
on
at that.
Nice,
That's
nice.
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question to you now: is there any KISS items that you regret not buying when you had the chance?
I think there's one item that I'm having a hard time finding. There's no items that I regret not buying, but there's one of them that I'm really having a hard time finding. Is the Peter Criss bust
Okay.
from the Spencer years,
Yeah.
the big one with the two panthers on the side.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I have Gene, Ace, and Paul. All I'm missing is that Peter Criss to finalize my set. And once that set is done, I think for myself, after that, it's like I'm gonna chill on the KISS stuff and
Okay.
the KISS merchandise purchases, you know,
That's a
because it
nice.
never ends. It never ends.
No.
You
But
know, like
that's a beautiful set to display in
beautiful set, you
in
know.
your basement. That's
That's the
awesome, man.
thing. Like with me, I don't have many things that are, in my opinion, too weird, or I always really liked beautiful sets,
Right.
like the nice statues of the, you know, the bust
Decoration
statues.
stuff.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
really liked nice
Right.
pieces
Yeah.
that they had come out since the Acoin days in the 70s.
Exactly.
I have some Acoin stuff too. And like, you know, I have some of the Todd McFarlane dolls and stuff like that. They're cool, yeah, they're action figures. But things to pop to, you know, set up nice in your home, like just that piece you got there, Claudio, in the back, the destroyer one, you know,
Yeah.
the square destroyer on the stand. That's
Yeah.
beautiful, man. Like, it's
Mhm.
nice to display in your
Yeah,
KISS
yeah,
cave,
just
in
to
your
show,
KISS
yeah.
room, you
Yeah.
know, and it's a conversation piece. And most of these things are numbered.
Yeah.
Like they're like 1 out of 500 or 1 out of 1,000. So like you're like the you're like one out of that 1,000
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
got that piece.
Mhm.
So it's a conversation piece, you know,
It is a
even those
conversation
and
piece.
all these posters that I got so many rolled up. These are beautiful pieces that like are of important moments in their career. Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, Love Gun.
Yeah.
Those years, man, they were coming out with posters like nonstop, magazines. So those were like great pieces to have,
Mhm.
you know. So to go back to your question, Pask, I don't think there's, you know, items that I regret, but there are definitely items that I want to have, and that Peter Chris bust. If you guys ever find it, let me know. I
Yeah,
think
we
I
will.
have it. I
actually.
have it.
You want to trade?
You want
You want to
for the
trade?
pinball machine? It's yours. It's yours.
If you want to trade, man, this is yours. Nah, man, this piece here, along with this, they might be overrated
The comic books.
pieces.
The comic books, yeah.
The KISS magazine / comic book from 77, 78. You know, you look at this and you know the story behind these, and the condition that it's in. These are not pieces that have stuck around. You know, there's very little of them left. You know, people were flipping them open and playing with them and ripping out. You know, there was a poster inside. People will rip them out and not keep it in mint condition. And you know, these are pieces like that piece as well. They might be, for me, my holy grails.
Okay.
In KISS merchandise or collection,
Right.
if you want to call it, because for me, I was always into comic books. My whole life, I have boxes and boxes. I lost count how many Spider-Man, you know, all that stuff, Marvel, DC Comics, Spawn, and all those comic books there that they came out in the 90s and early 2000s. I have so many of them. So I needed to have this one because I'm a huge KISS fan, right? So this is for me a holy grail, my opinion. And the pinball machine, like, man, like I always dreamt about having that pinball machine, you know.
Yeah, me too.
And the moment I got it, I told myself, I can just have these two right here,
and you're
and
good.
I'm
You're
good.
good. You're good.
I'm good. And
Yeah.
you know what? They might be, a lot of people might say, you know, they're overrated KISS collectors items, because, you know, I mean, whatever, to each their own, I guess, you know. But yeah, fine. Everybody wants the comic book, you know, printed in their blood, and everybody wants the pinball machine. Sure, they are overrated. Try to find them in good condition.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you said you got into KISS late. What inspired you to get into collecting, and what was that first item that you got?
It started with the visuals. It started with the visuals, and then when I saw they were making, you know, the music I liked, it's right there. It's just like, okay, I'm done. Like, you can show me any other band, and I won't be as impressed. That's for sure. So the music came, and you know what's funny is that when I knew who KISS was, back in late 90s, early 2000s. I've seen them make up around and on TV and all that stuff. But when I started listening to their music, I Was Made for Loving You obviously is a big one, and Rock and Roll All Night, another big one. Very, very like, overrated songs for sure. And then there's Detroit and Deuce and all those songs, popular songs. You know what's funny? I didn't even know it was them.
Okay.
But then when I found out that this is what they looked like, that's what they looked like, I'm just like, whoa.
This is serious stuff. This
is like
quite something.
Rock and roll superheroes, man.
Right.
You get best of both worlds. If you're into that, of course. A lot of people are probably not into that stuff, but for myself, I was very much into that. Grew up with comic books all my life, and then listening to rock, getting into the rock scene and the rock music, and I was heavily influenced on that as well. And then you mix the both of them together. It's like, how don't you want to, be a KISS fan after that, So for me, that's the memories that kind of stand out, is when I knew how to connect both band and music, and that's what started my journey, being a KISS fan throughout until today.
Well, I think by now there's no question, man, that that beautiful pinball machine has a beautiful house there, and stays with you. Well worth it, man. So it's the thing is that if it makes you happy, man, that's what it counts, man. So that's what it is. It doesn't matter what it is, what kind of item, but it makes you happy, and you're enjoying it. You're not having it, stuck there collecting dust or anything. So you're living a full KISS life. So, but let us ask you just 3-4 more questions, and we'll let you go. Have you ever had to make any personal sacrifices to obtain that special KISS item?
Besides asking my dad for his minivan.
Okay.
Probably not. I mean, just going and get it, I was alone. I had no one to help me out with it. Thank God the gentleman that sold it to me was kind enough to put it in the back of the caravan, and then I was really hoping I wouldn't get into a car accident. Like that would have been like a dream killer right there. Imagine that you're driving home with a pinball machine that was from 77, 78. And then you're driving and you're like, yeah, I'm close to home. Then bang, you're like, oh, you lose the machine and everything. But no, I mean, sacrifices.
Okay.
No, I didn't really. No.
Okay. And the next one, this is interesting times we're living in, with the band not playing anymore, and many longtime fans hitting their, I don't know, 60s or 70s. So, and we see so many people kind of letting their collection go, either selling or donating or doing all kinds of things because they're downsizing, for whatever reason.
A gentleman named Pasquale was doing that.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. So would you ever donate that special piece of KISS memorabilia for a good cause? And if so, what would that piece be?
Pinball machine.
It's
you touched on this before. You said that stuff will stay with you till you're gone, but if it's for a good cause, would you consider?
Look, I mean, God forbid something would happen to a family member. I mean, and there had to be money to be, to donate, or they had to raise money for whatever happened, a disease or something like that needed thousands and thousands of dollars. Maybe it wouldn't pay everything, but it would pay, a little portion of it. And I think if there was a family member that their backs were against the wall financially and really, really needed some help, definitely I would tell myself, what, I have to part ways with it, because
there you go.
That's just, that's just it's just a box,
right?
With a with a window and a mirror and whatever, and it's not someone's life. So
exactly.
for sure, if someone needed some financial help, family member, and they said, look, you know, we're raising $20,000 or whatever, it wouldn't pay the whole thing, but I think it would definitely help someone in times of need. Yeah.
Okay.
Got to be for a very good. It has to be a very good reason, though.
A really good cause. That's right.
Yeah.
So, before Giancarlo, before we kind of drop the curtain on this episode, which is, by the way, it has been so much fun.
It's been a pleasure.
If you could go back in time, knowing what you know now, you're already smiling there, right?
Ask.
I don't know if I should ask.
Final test question.
I don't know if I should
final
ask this
test question.
Ask. Do the honors. Just ask the question
You
yourself.
should do it. You should
Get
do
Claudio
it,
out and put him out of his misery.
You can put a poster of my face. You should do it.
All right. The final test question here. So, if you could go back in time, knowing what you know now about me, would you let me have the pinball machine?
Probably not.
Are you?
I had to have it, man. I'm sorry, guy.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Hey, how about this? What would you do?
Oh no, I'd buy it. Oh,
There we
absolutely,
go.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's a beautiful piece, guys.
Yeah,
Honestly, seeing it probably through camera or through pictures is one thing. It's still nice, whatever. But when you have this in front of you, and you're not only just, you know, playing the machine and just looking at it or admiring it, what you're also doing is that you're revisiting, you're going back in the past.
Yeah, your life.
Technology that's been, you know, that was around in the 70s, late 70s. And you could only imagine how many people played this.
Mm-hmm.
The stories people have playing this. People that probably drove miles to play this machine because there wasn't any in their town and they wanted to get their hands on one, and they had to go to an arcade place out of town, and the stories that were, you know, that was done on the way going and see this pinball machine and playing it, they probably played it all night, and the stories of them playing it all night with their friends or whatever. So this it brings back that feel. I don't just play it and I don't just look at it. There's a feeling you get from it just looking at it, and it tells you stories, you know. So yeah, it's a beautiful piece to have, and for sure when people come over and they come in the basement, they'll see the posters and whatever, or they'll see other things, but when they see that,
the attention is there.
let me tell you, that's a conversation starter.
Right.
You know, they say, you know, a picture has, like posters, a picture has 1,000 words. That thing there you'll pass an evening playing with it, and with the, you know, person that wants to play with it, and you share moments with people. You know, it's so it's honestly, I've been very lucky to find this. It's one of those Pask, if you ever come around it, man, you got to jump on it. In likewise for you, Claudio. You don't have it, right, Claudio?
Yeah. No, I don't have it. No.
Do you wish on? Do you like hope?
Oh yeah. That was one of that's one of my holy grails. Yeah, absolutely. But I have to say that if we kind of stand you know, back to back with Pask goes crazy, you know, about that item. So if I ever find one, I'll pass the word to Mr. Pasquale Vari, and he's gonna get it.
Because that's a good friend, Pask. You got to keep him around.
Yeah, oh, for sure. He's like my brother. And Claudio, I gotta tell you, if I ever find it, I will never tell you.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not gonna. I won't tell any of you guys where I live, because I might hear someone walk down the stairs one night, and I'm not gonna. It's not gonna be pretty. That's for sure.
That's right.
Exactly. The trouble is, it's gotten so expensive now. I was driving down Notre Dame Street to pick up my girlfriend at work, and I saw the pinball machine at a window at a cafe. So I stopped the car and told my girlfriend, I'm gonna be late. And I went to the cafe and said, okay, how much do you want for that machine? They wanted $12,000.
What condition was it in?
It was pretty good condition. It was in the window. So the machine was very faded. That was the only problem with it. But it worked perfectly. But I'm not gonna pay $12,000 for it.
12 grand. Like, look, I mean, I think that was someone trying to like maybe play with you a bet on the price. Maybe I don't know.
I don't think he wants to get rid of it.
No, that's what usually happens. You know, when someone doesn't want to get rid of it, obviously, if someone comes here and they say, "Hey, you know, how much you want for your machine?" I'm gonna give them such a ridiculous price.
Of course, yeah.
You know, because I know they're not gonna pay that price.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't want to get rid of it. So obviously, like, you know, yeah, it won't be too easy with me to try to buy this one. That's for sure.
It's getting harder and harder.
It's yeah, for sure. It's getting harder and harder. And you know what? At the time, I was even looking on eBay just for fun. I saw one go for 25,000.
Wow.
No.
Yeah, I saw, it was like, but it was in
Oh,
beautiful, immaculate condition. The paint was brand new. It was freshly refurbished, and everything was just functional on it. You know, there was not even no scratches, nothing. I hope for 25 G's. I hope you can. You know, I hope it's in that in that condition. But I remember looking at it, and I'm like, oh my god,
That's
you know. And then when I found this one for the price the gentleman wanted, I was just like, okay, let me go give it a shot. Like, let me go see it. And if it's in good enough condition, you know, I'll offer him something and hope everything goes good, and hopefully he accepts the offer. And he did, you know, and he was very nice about it, and he very welcoming. He was a nice person and everything. It's just I knew from the vibe I was getting from him, he was firm with many things about his collection and the price. He didn't want to budge too much, and you know, if it wasn't me, it would have been someone else. Maybe it would have been you, Pask. You know,
who knows? But you know what? Let's end this episode with making a final decision.
Yes.
Is Giancarlo Ferrara worthy of the pinball machine, Claudio?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. It's been, you know, it's funny. We're talking about, you know, items and memories and how much, you know, happiness it brings to us. And this is the proof, man. So absolutely, man, really worth it. And so happy to having the chance to meet you, Giancarlo.
Yeah, guys, it's been a pleasure.
This is great,
this,
man. This is awesome. A beautiful. For us Sunday morning here, you know, spending time with talking KISS and getting to know you better, and can't wait, man. Can't wait to meet you in person, you know, for the next gathering. I'm sure that there's going to be chances, and keep enjoying your machine and your life, man. And it's been truly awesome, man. Thank you.
Thanks. It's been a real pleasure being on this podcast with you gentlemen.
Giancarlo, listen, this was all done in good fun. I remember when I was talking to Claudia about this, he goes, "Oh, you sure he won't get offended or anything?" It's like, no, this is all it's all in good fun. It's a different way of presenting a fan profile. But you know, as a KISS fan and as a human being, it's only right to be happy for somebody else's happiness, and that you got the pinball machine, that you're happy. That is what matters, and that's what makes me happy as well. All joking aside, that's what
for makes sure. I know you guys are all about love. You know, it's all comes from that. So
absolutely, and that's it, right? I mean, I'm talking to you. This, you know, you are the embodiment of a KISS fan and what a KISS fan should be about the experiences, about sharing those experiences. You know, being happy, making other people happy, and we're a community, and that's what we should continue to be. So thanks again for your sense of humor, for playing along, and 100%. It was such a pleasure to have you on, my friend.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
And we need to get together, check out each other's collections. I want a picture with you and that pinball machine. You know, let's get this thing done.
That could be nice.
Awesome. Yes,
that could be awesome.
Yeah. To the KISS Army, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please send them to talktomee@kissarmynationpodcast.com. Till the next time, remember, never stop rocking. Take care, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and X. You can watch us on YouTube or listen to us on Podomatic, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. This is about you, so please like and subscribe to support the amazing guests we have on the show. See you soon, KISS Army.